Hello and welcome to the AI Summit London. My name is Rory Jurkett and today I'm joined by Cam, the Director of Cybersecurity and Risk Management, NFL. Thank you so much for joining me just now. Really appreciate your time. You have an extraordinary background, and for the folks at home, I'd love for you just to share a little bit of insight to how you landed up at the NFL.
Absolutely. I think for me, I've not always been a technology person by any way, shape, or form. I've been in cybersecurity for nearly 10 years now. And before that, I was a police commander for 14 and a half years. I did different roles in the policing, everything from being a Bobby on the beat to actually doing counterterrorism activities. So I covered a team of 500 officers up and down the UK that led counterterrorism operations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And in diving straight into it, how do you see AI being reshaping the NFL operationally and around cyber resilience, particularly when you're dealing with such high profile venues and large scale events?
I think large-scale events definitely cause a bit of a grief for us because I think we look at two sides of this two sides of the coin. One side is, okay, we have 60, 70,000 people in the stadium who are there to have a good time, watch the game, or bought the ticket to watch the game. The second tranche and the second stream is us as security professionals. How do we make sure that fan is safe from the minute they leave their house to the minute they come to that stadium and finish the game? Our job is a more end-to-end holistic security image, but from a cyber angle and with adversaries from an AI perspective, those particular personas of those fans that come into the stadium can change. And you know, we as a professional need to understand from a situational awareness perspective, a bird's eye view, does that person cause a brief or problem statement for us? We reenact that. We do tabletop exercises. We re-plan for this. We do situational awareness on playbooks, and we work with our partners to make sure that if this were to happen, how does that play out?
Well, look, it's absolutely, utterly fascinating. And, now being at the NFL, how do you see, we're at the AI Summit, how do you see reshaping operationally and cyber resilience, particularly in securing, such high profile venues and large scale events within the NFL?
I always like to show a image when I'm talking of a Where's Wally picture. And I love this image purely because, I can put this in front of my kids and they're occupied for hours trying to find Wally. For me, that picture resembles a stadium and the fans in the stadium. 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 fans. Now, trying to identify where's Wally in that, right? It's near enough impossible. And yes, we can have as many security controls in place, physical and cyber, but there will be something that slips through the net. And as a professional what do you decide? What happens when that does slip through the net? How is that important? How does that replay out to the actual game, the fans event, and the brand of the NFL? So with the help of AI, I'd like to say, we're able to analyze people's behaviors. We can analyze, we take facial recognition where whichever country that allows us to do so. Certain states in the US do, some don't. But what does that do? That kind of tracks that person if that becomes an anomaly in any way, shape, or form. So it looks at user behavior, user analytics. The second part of that is using our mags. A mag is a metal detector, the ones you'd go in an airport, but recently you've probably seen airports where you walk into a tunnel where you put your hands up and there's little things that spins around you. Why does that do that? It's not looking at just a metal in your body. It's understanding if there's anomalies to your body. Is there any bulks where there shouldn't be bulks? Is there anything there that resembles a weapon on you as a person? And that's when they do a physical pat down. Very similar to the NFL. Our mags have that built in. And we have everything from a knife hidden in someone's ankle to a plastic gun in someone's waistband, right? Why do I say plastic band? Because a metal detector is not going to pick that up. They'll still shoot a bullet and kill someone. So we try to do a mixture of both, where we use the technology to help us be informed of a threat. Gives us a confidence score. And as a professional is then going through that confidence score, say, actually, does this make sense or not? Do we act on it or do we not?
Yeah, that's really interesting from an operational point of view. And also now talking about the kind of responsibility surrounding AI, and you're kind of touching on how that is then being a function. How does that function under like real world pressures for yourself as well? I find that really interesting. Where security teams are getting genuine value from AI today in areas like third-party risk management, as you've touched on, and cyber risk qualifications, how does that stack up against the adversary side, the deep fakes, the social engineering scale, and the autonomous kind of reconnaissance?
It's an interesting world within the NFL because people don't working in a sporting organization. Not many people understand the contributing factors and risks that are alongside AI development. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, we have two teams coming into a country to play. Now, if those two teams that when they come in for a week, they do the training, they play on the Sunday, and then fly back to wherever they need to fly back to. Now, with the issue with AI is these individuals who are very prominent on social media and elements like that, deep fakes can happen every other second. It will pick up on individuals, it will pick up on people's social media accounts, it will see what they look like and put a narrative out there that it's quite malicious and it might cause a stir. So automatically you're now having a player who's going to be playing on Sunday game day, whose their social media is littered with malicious content because of an AI agent or an AI bot that did this deep fake for them. This goes up and down the trajectory. This is not just players, this is officials, this is owners, this is the NFL, this is our execs. So being one step ahead of deepfake can be done, but can it be done correctly and at speed? At speed, absolutely not. Within our world, also quickest way to understand if there was a deepfake and that's going to affect your game or that player, well, use the human in the loop. How do we power that off? How do we stop that channel? We haven't got the time to understand. Do we investigate it? Do we continue it? What do we do? So those kind of, I think, is helping us executives to say, what is our kill switch? What can we do?
And just touching on that kind of almost, you're talking how that, hits through the company structurally, from a board level accountability, what should AI risk conversation with a board actually look like? And I wondered if you could kind of shed a little bit of light on that.
So we had an interesting journey in the whole AI world and how we had 32 clubs who are all doing their own different things. And they said, well, actually, we need some governance around it. So we said, look, all 32 clubs, you tell us what the business necessities you're trying to achieve. You tell them, if they're going to be using AI or not. And if you are, you do a formal application to the NFL and we will screen that for you. Now, what happened there was these club owners who are, effectively billionaires, they will deploy everything that's under the sun to say, actually, this is going to make my team technologically advanced. Fantastic. But the more technological advance you do with the help and aid of AI, that information needs to go somewhere. That information needs to make a decision at the end of it. So is that making decisions for you? And you're doing that without any human in the loop, full stop. So the way we've done that is that we created a governance steering group. Everyone goes to a formal steering group. We have all areas of business there, everything from legal to finance to business operations, and of course security. And we kind of pan that out. Does that meet your business necessity, business decisions? Yes, it does. Fine, it's past that thing. If it doesn't, and we think that there's a risk there, we highlight that risk. And what we found was that when we speak that language to the board, I think when we speak that language to the board, us as professionals sometimes go through a safety net. And we don't need to go through a safety net because by the time you're already having that conversation with the board member, they're already on their own platform trying to get the answer for themselves. So I like to be transparent. So, well, actually, I know you guys are doing the answer. So let me just see what my ChatGPT or Perplexity or set for you.
Which is quite interesting because my next question is the human side of the judgment within the AI sphere, and you touch on that, and I think how important is it it could be from a day-to-day decision making for you. How important is that for while using AI within the role?
I think, like I said, about the speed and efficiency. The speed and efficiency is so advanced with the help of AI, but the judgment and the accountability must be sat with a human. That judgment and capability, if it's not sat with a human and the AI driver has made that decision for you, I think there's some situational awareness that's not going on there. And in the police, it was one clear thing to me when I was training as a young officer is Cam, as an officer, don't run after what we call red mist. So what's red mist? Because you're focused on a criminal running after them or someone who's caused a crime of any way, shape, or form. I go for that individual. I don't see the things around me. With situational awareness within AI, that whole bigger picture is encapsulated in that one little red mist. So as a leader, I need to look at that bigger picture. And I said, well, actually, what's the bigger risk here? Maybe that one individual played a part in it, but that one individual is quadrupled, decoyed over and over again, and that risk is coming on and off in flash bursts. So we need to make decision factors on that.
That makes a lot of sense, and just having that top-down view as a leader makes complete sense as well. Talking about looking into the top-down, looking into the future for you, trend, looking into the next 12 months. What AI trends are you kind of looking at yourself?
So we see a lot, and this whole conference today is all giving us that background on agentic AI workflows, and how AI is going to help us decide and probably contain if there's any security threats. And you also see with the likes of our super chips now. We have new quantum chips that come into place which could power a city. A small little thing like that. That's phenomenal. We wouldn't be seeing this 10 years ago before. But one thing we see, or I see as a problem and a gap still, is not precisely technology, but more of the human side of it. Are we leading with empathy? Are we leading with direction? Do we give the right room for growth for our teams to make that decision for us on our behalf and help the wider team? So I think for me, the next 5 to 10 years, it's more about preparing the leader to use AI effectively, to govern it effectively, and help your team to grow into that space. Technology will always be part of this structure. Technology will always keep on changing the attack vectors. As a leader, I don't think you can do that.
You have kicked off this AI Summit impeccably with your keynote this morning. What are you looking forward to attending here? What's the things you're wanting to take away?
I think we have pretty much most vendors will say, "Oh, our platform or our software is AI built in," and like I said back in the day, it wasn't like that. The core principle of that particular software or solution or product or service is like, we are accountable to you. We will give you the background. We will give you what you need from us. As a leader, for what I want to see is that how is that AI capability entwined to the product delivery of it? And does that product delivery meet my business necessity? And the biggest question here is resilience. Well, if that product or service or that amount I invest in that solution, is resilience built in? Can I say if something goes wrong, you will help me contain that problem and move forward from it?
Well, on that note, I'm greatly appreciate your time, and thank you very much for sharing such great insights. Thank you very much for watching. My name has been Reshaping, and this is the AI Summit London.